Are you doing every single thing in your business? If the answer is yes, keep watching this video to find out how that might be holding you back. Hey family, it's Janelle Allen, Learning and Marketing Strategist for online course creators. If you're new here, welcome. If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button and don't forget to hit the little bell icon next to it so that you get notified for every single new video. All right, today we are gonna dig all into mindset stuff, specifically having a do-it-yourself mindset and how that holds your business back. So let's dive in. So this is a very common thing that I see with a lot of business owners. And doing everything in your business is a trap. It holds you from being able to grow, because in order to grow, you have to let go. Now, a lot of new business owners who, when we start a business, it feels good to call yourself the CEO. It feels good to call yourself a founder, whatever term that you use. But you have to ask yourself, especially if you're doing every single thing in your business, are you doing CEO level tasks? Are you doing CEO level tasks? And for a lot of new entrepreneurs and business owners, they're stuck doing the worker bee admin tasks in their business. They're stuck doing things that they absolutely should be outsourcing. And the downside to that is you never have time to step back and vision. You never have time to step back and strategize, to step back and plan, because you're stuck in the weeds of your business. And when you're stuck in the weeds, your focus is, every single little problem and fire that you need to put out. So it actually holds you back to continue to have this mindset, and it keeps you in the same place. You are going to find it harder to grow if you approach everything with I'll just do it myself. You're spending time Googling for free information. You're up all hours of the night or waking up early in the morning. And at some point, you're going to burn out. Now, how do I know this? Because it happened to me. When I started my online business, at the time it was called Zen Courses, and I was doing every single thing myself. I had a podcast that I was recording the episodes and editing the episodes myself. I was running a blog, so I'm writing the articles, finding the images, publishing the blog. I had a newsletter, I'm scheduling those out and doing all of that, posting everything to social media. I'm also doing my bookkeeping. I'm also doing all of the general admin. And on top of all of that, I'm working with clients. So I'm doing the project management. I'm doing the fulfillment of all the projects. I'm doing sales. I'm doing marketing. I'm doing everything. And wouldn't you know it, I hit a wall. At some point, and I remember this clearly, it was about 10 p.m. I had already been working all day. Probably, if I have to remember, I probably had started my day around 8 a.m. And I realized that I had not edited my podcast episode for the next day yet. It had completely blew my mind because I had been busy with every single thing that I had that day. And that was when I just said, okay, I've got to stop. I just hit a wall. There was no way I was going to stay up an additional 3 hours to edit my podcast. I was burnt out. And then I had to get up early the next morning. And that was when, the light bulb went off for me, because I had already been burning out. It wasn't that was the one thing. That was the culmination of several burnout events where I'm just exhausted. I'm not spending time with family. I'm not having the quality of life because I'm doing every single thing. And for me, I think that I was just so entrenched in this idea of bootstrapping and DIY mindset, because the business was making enough money. It was still early days, so it wasn't a huge amount, but it was making enough money for me to hire someone to help. I just was resistant to it. I had romanticized this idea of doing everything myself. bootstrapping. And I think also I just didn't know how to outsource or when I should start outsourcing. So when I finally had that night where I just said, okay, it's 10 p.m. and I just realized I forgot to edit my podcast today, that is when the light bulb went off. And I hired my first hire was a podcast editor so that I could take those hours of editing off of my plate and, get my time back. So I tell you my story because I have absolutely been there. My next hire after that was a virtual assistant, and like I said, I had been resistant, but once you make that first hire, so once I hired my podcast editor and I saw the return on that investment and the return to my quality of life, finding a virtual assistant was like easy. It's like, okay, this works. This is going to help me. And it's also going to give me time to focus on things that are going to push my business forward. And that's exactly what happened. I was able to build better relationships and focus on products and development and sales and all of that stuff when I outsourced some of the things that I either didn't need to be doing or wasn't good at doing. Now, I have had a few clients who are stuck in DIY mode. In fact, one of my recent clients was just so stressed out during the course of our work together because he was doing everything in his business. He was overwhelmed to the point where he wasn't even able to launch his course because he was trying to do all of his client work and it was a busy season. He was also trying to figure out how to handle his marketing on his own, and he wanted to create the course, and he had, he's the subject matter expert, so he was focused on doing that on his own, in addition to the day-to-day admin of running a business. And so he had set this date to launch his course, and he wasn't able to do that because he had not taken time to outsource and hire. Now, for him, one of the things that he believed and that he shared with me was, oh, well, no one else can do what I do. This is something that a lot of people think. A lot of people think that nobody else can replace them. Listen, this is the furthest thing from the truth. Most of what you do is trainable. You can be replaced. Now, it's true. No one can add your secret sauce. No one can be you. No one can bring the vision that you have. That's yours. But as far as your tasks, if you have a process and a way of doing something, then you can absolutely train someone else to do that. So when I hear people say, well, no one else can do what I do, I'm the only one who knows how to do this. What that really means is you haven't taken time to sit down and document your processes. That's what it means. And all it takes is, an afternoon or a day to sit down and say, okay, what are the things that I need to get off my plate and how do I do them? And just documenting the process. So that's what that usually means. When I hear that, I know, okay, this person hasn't taken time to do that. In the beginning, you have a lot on your plate. And I want to address this because I know if you're starting out, you might be thinking, well, Janelle, I don't have the resources to outsource right now. And I've been there. I totally get it. In the beginning, you have a lot to do on your own, especially if you're bootstrapping. However, the goal is not to stay there, right? The goal is task by task to slowly eliminate the low-level items on your to-do list so that you can focus on the higher level or higher value items that actually help your business grow. Your job is to vision, strategize, plan, market, sell, build relationships, right? So as you start to build your business and you start to get sales and income, your goal is to start to eliminate those low-level tasks, get them off your plate. Now, the flip side to the story that I told you earlier about my client who believed no one could do what he did is clients who have profitable businesses but refuse to spend money on hiring experts. And I'm talking clients who are doing 7 figures, 6 figures. They're making money in their business. Money is not the problem. But they still believe that, well, actually, it's a different belief. This is a scarcity mentality. For whatever reason, they want to control everything in their business, right? So, and sometimes it's also a scarcity with regards to money. They don't want to spend money on certain things. They kind of want to hoard all of the money. These clients tend to have businesses that stay in the same place. Yes, they are profitable. It's a profitable place. Yes, they're selling, but their business is kind of looking the same year after year after year, right? And, conversely, my most successful clients outsource as much as their business can bear so that they can focus on their zone of genius and grow the business to new heights. And, when I noticed that with my clients, it was definitely something that I paid attention to. So the benefit is that outsourcing allows you to grow. So let's pause here and talk about the steps to take to outsource and automate tasks so that you can get them off of your plate, get out of this DIY place that has you stuck in the same place year after year, and allow you to grow. So the first thing that you want to do when you say, okay, yes, Janelle, I am ready to outsource. I'm ready to stop doing everything myself. The first thing that you need to do is to take inventory of your work, right? Take inventory of what you do day to day and how you do it. But we'll get to that part later. So the first thing is just to list it down, right? And this is a tool that I like to use. It's called a task outsource list. Someone shared this process with me, and I'm sharing it with you because it's so helpful. And it's something that I do periodically. So once taking inventory is not a one-time thing. You want to do that periodically through your business because there's always going to be things that you can get off your plate. So there's 4 buckets to the task outsource list. Tasks that you should do, that's the first one. These are high-value tasks that you enjoy doing. And you're good at doing them. And so these should stay with you, right? You are the person who should be doing these tasks. They add value to your business. They help your business grow. You're good at doing them. These need to stay on your plate. Then in the second bucket, you have tasks that you should not do. These are repetitive, low-value tasks that are not the best use of your time. So even if you're good at doing these, or you like doing them, maybe you're doing them while you're watching a movie in the background and you don't mind, or you don't need to be doing them. And these are the hardest ones to outsource because we rationalize these tasks. We tell ourselves that this only takes a couple seconds, right? Well, a couple seconds turns into minutes, turns into hours, and before you know it, you've spent half a day on admin. So these are tasks that you should not be doing. The third bucket, these are tasks that you don't want to do, right? These are the ones you intuitively want to outsource first because you don't like doing these tasks. But there's someone else out there who could be really good at them, right? So that's bucket 3. And then bucket 4, these are tasks that you can't do. So these tasks require a skill set or area of expertise that you simply don't have. So it could be something like web design, branding, graphic design, video editing. It's typically going to be something technical, very high level tasks. Okay, so once you've taken inventory, where do you start? That's the question a lot of people have. Start with buckets 2 and 4. So tasks that you should not do and tasks that you can't do. I know it's tempting to start with the tasks that you don't want to do, but actually start with buckets 2 and 4. If you have a critical, high-level technical task, which would fit in bucket 4, that you need help with right now, then start there. If that's not the case, then I want you to start with those low-value admin tasks because those are draining time from your schedule. So get those off your plate. We don't recognize how much admin eats at not just our time, but our mental energy. So start with that. And then after you get that, then you can come back to bucket 3. All right. Now, the second step after you take inventory is, and after you identify buckets in the tasks in buckets 2 and 4, you want to document your processes. It's actually the third step. So document your processes, because in order for you to hand something off to someone, you need to be able to tell them how to do it. And this is the part that so many people skip. And then they say, oh, well, I got a bad virtual assistant. Well, did you really train them? Did you tell them how things needed to be done? Did you set expectations? So you want to document your processes, because once you document, then it makes it easier for you to hire, outsource, train, so on and so forth. So there's 2 ways you can document your processes. You can write it down and create SOPs in your business. Or if you don't have time for that, one way that you can get started really quickly is to record a video. So this is something that I did when I started working with a VA. I just used a tool like Loom. I love Loom. It's one of my favorite tools. I use it every single day in my business to record me doing the thing, right? Record me doing it and talking through the process of how I do it, why I do this, why I do that, what I don't do. And then you can just share these videos and it becomes a training library. And when you find a VA, you can share this information with them. So that's actually the 4th step, which is to outsource and automate, right? So there's going to be some tasks that you need to hire a virtual assistant for or hire a freelancer for. And there's going to be other tasks that you can automate and get them off your plate that way. If you're hiring a virtual assistant, there's 2 resources that I highly recommend. So first things first, if you're hiring a virtual assistant, listen, I have gone through the fires for you, so I'm going to tell you what works. What works is using a virtual assistant service or going to virtual assistant Facebook groups and posting an application. What does not work is Googling and trying to find, a good virtual assistant for you just through Google. What does not work is, going into Facebook groups and trying to click on people's profiles and get a sense of who they are. So this is Gina Horkey. She runs Horkey Handbook and has a virtual assistant finder service. This is one service that you can use to find a VA. There's also one that I recently stumbled upon, which is a digital nomad kit virtual assistant matching service. So check this one out as well. Facebook groups, Gina Horkey there's plenty of them. Just go on Facebook and search virtual assistant and you're going to find a bunch of groups. I think Gina has one. There's so many. There's new ones popping up all the time. There's also virtual assistants who specialize in certain niches like real estate. So you can find groups on that as well. But be sure to post an application. Why? Because that's going to help you filter out people who don't bother to read instructions, people who don't actually have any experience. It's just going to help your search and allow you to focus in on people who are good qualified candidates. So those are the steps that you need to take to outsource and automate and get out of that DIY mindset. All right, family. So today you learned how having a DIY mindset slows down your growth and holds your business back. You also learned some steps to take to outsource and automate those tasks so that you can get your time back and start doing those CEO level tasks that grow your business. Now, I shared some resources with you in the video. I'm going to be sure to link to those in the description. So you'll see the 2 sites, the virtual assistant finder sites that I mentioned. And I'm also going to share a link to that task outsource list that I showed you so that you can start using that. Okay, so give me some love down in the comments and let me know what questions you have about outsourcing tasks in your business, letting go of tasks in your business. And if you enjoyed this video, as always, please give me a thumbs up. And last but certainly not least, don't forget to subscribe. Okay? Peace.